Cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it too.
The Midwest Outdoors brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
3 timeouts, 13 seconds to go. They've got time for probably one more play. Mahomes throws. Kelsey open inside the 40. Breaks a tackle and down at the 30-yard line. Timeout.
The Chiefs.
We're going to overtime.
The Bills.
They made one more play than we did.
Kelsey adjusting. Makes the catch. Touchdown.
Josh played his ass off. Pardon my language.
Whoever had the ball last.
Coverage begins at 9 a.m. on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
One of the things I love about being back in the sports betting game is the player props and the game props. So many of them to choose from. And what's cool about FanDuel Sports is you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. Whether you want to take the over on the rushing yards, whether you want to take the first half total, they are available to play however you want. Easy to register, easy to deposit, easy to find your bet, all at FanDuel Sports. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet. So lock in your bet today at FanDuel Sports. Right now, new customers get up to $1,000 back in free bets if your first bet doesn't win with promo code PETRO. That's promo code PETRO, P-E-T-R-O. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the National Football League.
21 plus and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
You're listening to the most powerful sports station in the country. Sports Radio 810, WHB Kansas City, the power of sports.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, race fans. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. I'm Scott Traylor. I am in Devil's Bowl, down by the Devil's Bowl Speedway in Mesquite, Texas, hanging out. It was a late night last night. We got over, but it was some good action down here at the Devil's Bowl last night. Blake Hahn picked up his first Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour win. Kirk, were you a little surprised when you heard that was the first time that Blake Hahn had won down here?
At Devil's Bowl Speedway. I was surprised about that. That was his 4th win of the year. But, yeah, I would have thought he would have won a race at some point at Devil's Bowl Speedway. I was surprised when I heard that, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It was a pretty good race last night, by the way. I felt like Blake Hahn was the fastest car, but Roger Crockett, when they were in traffic late in that race, and they were racing, I don't know what lap that caution came out. I'm not sure exactly what lap it was, but it was towards the end of the race. I think that did Blake Hahn a big favor because Blake didn't have to worry about getting through the traffic, having Roger run him down, because Roger was kind of running him down there a little bit when he was in traffic. And I thought there for a minute that Roger might even take over first place from Blake Hahn. And sure enough, the caution comes out, and then Blake Hahn starts up front. There's 2 lap cars in between Roger Crockett and Blake Hahn. That's how it works. If the leader has to pass the lap cars, then you have to pass the lap cars. So there was 2 cars in between them. He got a good start, got out to a big lead, and went on to win the race. So I think last night was a pretty good run for Blake Hahn. I think the cautions really helped him there at the end of the race.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Both those guys started right up at the front, and when Roger Crockett sliced that lead down, he did it in a hurry. It was almost as if, maybe Blake was managing things a little bit, but when he saw Roger getting close there, then he quickly spread it back out again after they got around that lap traffic. But Blake had the dominant race car last night, I thought.
It appeared to me that there was a few cars that were pretty good last night. Blake Hahn was one of them. Roger Crockett, obviously, Matt Covington, the top 3 finishers last night, all did really well. Matt Covington, a guest that we had on Friday on Mostly Motorsports. He always gets around that racetrack really well. He's picked up a national tour win. He's got several regional wins down there at the Devil's Bowl Speedway in Mesquite, Texas. So, yeah, and you know what? To be honest with you, I thought Jason Martin and Dylan Westbrook looked really well as well.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to maybe get up there and mix it up, but they just didn't have the speed that Blake Hahn had.
Yeah, that's right. There was pretty good battle there going on for third, fourth, fifth place there for a while. Covington, Jason Martin, Dylan Westbrook all up there together. But the top two guys were definitely the class of the field last night, especially Blake Hahn.
Yeah, Wayne Johnson was the hard charger of the night. He moved up 11 spots last night, and rightly so. I think there was a few drivers that were a little annoyed last night. I don't know exactly what went down, so I can't give you full details, but I know that they had a problem. Sam Haferteef, I know that he went up there and he complained to Terry Maddox and to Angie about a car that was starting on the front row that shouldn't be starting on the front row of their heat race, and they felt like this car, the 85 car, was going to hold them up. And for whatever reason, I don't think that was the case. The 85 car seemed to hold his own pretty good, and the track was really fast. And listen, that was a fast track last night, folks. That track was uber fast, really fast last night, and I'm not sure I've seen it any faster than it was last night. We were down there with a radar gun at the end of the straightaway on the back straightaway, and we were timing guys with the radar gun, and the cars were going somewhere between 111 and 116 miles per hour down the back straightaway, Kurt.
Wow. That's fast. I was impressed with the car count overall last night. 47 cars showed up last night. That's
Nice
pretty
car
impressive.
count.
Sam Haferteef, you brought his name up. He didn't have a good night last night, did he? He had to run the B main, and he started 19th in the A, and he didn't have as good a night as I expected. That's for sure.
Well, if you remember right, Sam had to come out of the B, Kurt.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he runs second to Chase Randall in the B main, and he had a little bit of a hard time getting around Zach Chappell in the 50Z car, but he did get up into the transfer spot. They took 3 out of each one of the B mains, and that's what they did. Chase Randall, Sam Haferteef, Zach Chappell, Wayne Johnson in the second B main, Tucker Dowdy, and Dylan Pushter. He was there as well. So there was 3 guys that made it in from each one of those B mains, because they only take 6 total. And so it took 3 out of each one of the Bs. So last night, and a tough night for a new driver that was just going to come down here and race. He's from Arizona, JT Imperial. Not only was his bad night, he had a push truck jump over his wheel. It didn't do much damage to his car, but then he went out on a racetrack with a brand new motor, and that motor blew up. So they're going to have to put a new motor in it today. JT Imperial, one of the wheelmen from out in Arizona, traveled all the way down here just to blow up a motor. And it's nothing like, Kirk, there's nothing like blowing up a brand new motor that has no laps on it.
That's a hard one to stomach when that
That's
happens.
a hard one to swallow. We've had JT Imperial on our show, Mostly Motorsports, before, so he's a good boy. Runs out there in the West and wins a lot of races out there. But unfortunately, the 75X of JT Imperial is going to have to put a new motor in today. We're going to have a long day of work, and I'm sure they'll be ready tonight.
Big World of Outlaws night up at I-80 Speedway last night. Tonight at
David
Lakeside.
Gravel picked up the win, didn't he?
He did. He dominated. Led all 30 laps of that race last
Yeah,
night.
I know.
You talk about a fast racetrack last night, Scott. That was a fast racetrack.
Yeah,
mean,
I watched it.
Yeah. I mean, they got a lot of grip in that racetrack. It was a cool night. they had to stop and refuel these cars 7 laps into the race because they were consuming a lot of fuel, as cold as it was and as much grip as that track had last night. So a lot of horsepower out there, and David Gravel had the best of it last night. Sheldon Haudenschild, Carson Macedo, James McFadden, Brad Sweet, who we're going to hear from here in just a few minutes, was running third for a time and then slipped back to fifth, and David Gravel has cut into that point lead. There's just like 3 nights left before the World Finals, or maybe 3 nights including the World Finals, to determine this championship, and Brad Sweet looks like he's in hang-on mode right now.
Right, no doubt. We did have Brad Sweet on, and the week before we had Brock Zerfost on, and he ran 6th last night, so he had a good run. So we had a couple World of Outlaw drivers join us on Mostly Motorsports in the last couple weeks. But I'm right there with you, Kirk. I think David Gravel just had the most dominant car there last night. There was a moment there I thought maybe Sheldon might make a run at him, but I just think that David Gravel was the guy to beat last night.
I saw something I haven't seen maybe ever they were lining up for the B main last night, and Zach Hampton got into it with Matt Jewell as they were speeding up to get behind the pace car, and they got together, and Zach Hampton's car got upside down in that race. I don't think I've seen a wreck like that lining up for the start of the race, but we saw it last night ahead of that B main.
Well, you see it every once in a while. You might see a guy hop a tire or do something out on the racetrack or spin out or something. You see that from time to time, but you rarely see 2 cars get together and one guy get upside down. So that was who was that, Kirk? Who were the 2 cars?
Zach Hampton, the 35 car. The guy got upside down. Matt Jewell was not happy because he was going to start on the front row of that B main, and likely, maybe not, would have transferred into the feature event, and his night ended, and he wasn't happy about that before the B main even started. So he didn't, he thought, hey, what are we doing racing before the race starts?
Right.
Good question.
Well, it was a good night of action. It was really hard to watch that race. There was a bunch of people down there in the pits watching I-80 because everybody wanted to watch the last race up there at I-80. This is their last race. They got one more late model race up there.
They got tonight. They got an event tonight with the Malvern Bank late models, and that is the final race tonight. They had 40 cars at I-80 the car counts last night at both Devil's Bowl and I-80 were tremendous. Had 39 cars at I-80 Speedway last night.
Well, Kirk, doesn't that kind of confirm what we were talking about a little bit earlier this week on Mostly Motorsports, that maybe specials is the future of racing? And there's a problem with that as well. What happens to all the cars that all these drivers built that are local racers that want to race weekly? What happens to those guys? What happens to them if a lot of these racetracks go to specials only? What happens?
I don't think all tracks are going to go to special. I think you'll still see a handful of tracks run weekly races, and that's where everybody's going to gravitate to. The car counts will get bigger at the few racetracks that host weekly events, but by and large, I think a lot of facilities are just going to host special events. I'm with you.
Well, there's several racetracks that make it on weekly shows. Sure. Not everybody does. And I'll tell you this, LR, Lanny Ross, yesterday told me that they're not making money on their weekly shows down here.
No.
And that's one of the reasons why they're thinking about selling Devil's Bowl Speedway. They're not making money on the weekly shows.
He said a lot of it has to do with the traffic and the Metroplex, people getting off work on a Friday.
Yeah.
Friday, or, just getting places in the Dallas Metroplex area is hard to do.
Right, yeah, no doubt about it. All right, well, do we want to break early, Kirk, so we can get this entire 2 interviews in that we want to get in? We want to get our Brad Sweet interview here in hour number 1, as well as Lanny Ross. He's going to give us some information on the update of what's going on down at Devil's Bowl Speedway. That's all next right here on Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. We'll be right back with more right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk.
As your power steering pump ages, seal leaks may occur, causing the power steering system to lose fluid. Your power steering system may also develop an annoying squeal, and the steering may become more difficult to handle. By using Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak, you will stop the seal leaks, reduce slack in rack and pinion, eliminate the squeals and hard spots in your power steering system. It is guaranteed to stop seal leaks or your money back. Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak. It works.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Used Cars. Why buy from us? To get connected. We're a local family-owned dealership that offers a free lifetime warranty. Getting connected includes our state-of-the-art detail center, master technician service support, body shop, and collision center. Getting connected means you're getting peace of mind protection, not only with our lifetime warranty for your car, but a lifetime commitment to you. Get connected. Go to LeeSummitUsedCars.com and fall in love with driving again with a lifetime warranty.
James Taylor here with La Bodega Restaurants, and dine-in is open at Southwest Boulevard. So let's get started. Let's start with your options to curbside pickup and carryout. Tapas, salads, paellas, and so much more. Perfect for office or even the last-minute family dinner plan to go. Or how about patio dining for happy hour or dinner? Maybe even an evening glass of wine or signature sangria. We've made everything clean and safe, so just go to LaBodegaKC.com and let's get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm attorney Mike DePasquale. After a car wreck, the last thing you want to do is trust the insurance company. These insurance companies try to rip off good people every single day. My law firm won't let you get ripped off. We'll fight to get you all the money you deserve, and you don't pay us a dime unless we win your case. If you've been hurt, call me. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know, 816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hi, Stephen St. John here for Window Nation. Forecasters are predicting a colder and snowy winter, and winter is coming up fast. Are you prepared? Have your old windows lost their integrity? Are they drafty, hard to operate, or single pane and inefficient? The experts at Window Nation can help you prepare your home to defend against the colder weather with incredible savings. Right now, get 2 windows free for every 2 you buy and pay nothing till 2025. Imagine how much that 0% financing can save you. No payments till 2025. Add to that thousands more in energy savings over time. Start saving with one call to 866-90-NATION. Get 2 free windows for every 2 you buy. That's buy 2, get 2 free with no limit. Plus, pay nothing till 2025. Now's the time to winterize your home with this great offer before it leaves. And rake in the savings. Call Window Nation now. 866-90-NATION. Or visit windownation.com and tell them Stephen St. John sent you.
So what makes an orange smell like an orange? What gives a pine forest a scent so inviting that sometimes we spray it around our homes? Terpenes. Terpenes are nature's magical compounds that give every plant its own aromatic fingerprint. And in cannabis, they offer even more than that. If you want to learn how the right terpenes can take your cannabis experience to new heights, come to Relief Resources Dispensary on Saturday, October 15th for Terptoberfest. You'll learn how different cannabis strains with the same amount of THC but different terpenes have completely different effects. Learn how some terpenes may have potential benefits for certain mental health conditions, including anxiety and depression. Get your questions answered by patient care specialists, experts with over 600 medical cannabis products to choose from. It's all waiting for you at Terptoberfest, Saturday, October 15th from 10 to 5 at Relief Resources Dispensary in Grandview. Take 71 Highway to 140th Street. Home delivery is available too. Online at reliefmo.com.
Everyone knows Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa sale. Did you know it's also time to save hundreds, even thousands on patio furniture, pool tables, shuffleboard, and more? You can beef up your entertainment area with couches, sectionals, and theater seating now on sale at Family Leisure. Make it a September to remember with special 810 listener pricing at Family Leisure. Spas, basketball goals, play sets, trampolines, everything for family and fun together on sale at Family Leisure. K10 in Ridgeview in Olathe.
913-888-7727. Awesome.
Sometimes I grow so tired, but I know I'm one thing I got to do. Run along.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. Can't thank those guys enough for being involved with our show. Mostly motorsports and Track Talk here on Saturday mornings. Kirk, I had a chance to do an interview with Brad Sweet earlier this week, and I'm going to have you set that up for me.
That's right. He's the reigning 3-time World of Outlaw champion, going for his 4th in a row, and he holds a 56-point lead over David Gravel heading into tonight's race out here at Lakeside Speedway, and we're going to play that entire interview. It's a good one. He's also a promoter in addition to a race car driver, and here is that conversation with Brad Sweet held earlier this week on Mostly Motorsports.
Hey, man, it's a big weekend for the folks here in Kansas City. I know that you're going to be racing up at I-80 on Friday night and Lakeside on Saturday night. It's kind of sad to hear about I-80 going away, isn't it?
Yeah, you never want to lose a racetrack, especially one that's, put on so many great races over the years. And I really always enjoyed going there. Love the area. Omaha to the Lincoln area. Got a good friend Phil Durst, always nice to go visit him there, and that's kind of his home track. So, yeah, very unfortunate, but we're going to try to go out in style, and I've been fortunate enough to win there once, and, hopefully we can put on one last good show there.
It's kind of sad. We hear about Grandview going away, I-80 going away, Little Rock, we know it's going away, and there's rumors that Devil's Bowl might be going away. Man, that's quite a blow. Those are 4 major racetracks right there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising. I think just obviously land values and the way, communities either creep towards the land or a business wants the land or, I've been told Devil's Bowl's, potentially warehouses.
Right, yeah.
So I think there's just...
Hello?
Yeah, I mean, either we need to figure out how to get the racetracks to make more money so that they don't, sell it the first chance they get, or, it's a tough business, to be honest. I obviously have dipped my toe in a little bit out here at Silver Dollar Speedway, so I can kind of understand, if someone, wanted to buy the property for a large amount of money. It takes a long time at a racetrack to make that type of money, but very sad on our end. Of course, we all are very passionate about the sport we all love, and we never want to lose, racetracks, especially historical racetracks that have been, so good for so many years.
As a promoter yourself, what do you think is the most important thing about promoting races? To me, it seems like promoters aren't as active as they used to be, because back in the 80s and 90s when I was growing up and watching racing, you saw a lot of ads on television. You saw a lot of articles in the local newspapers. We just don't see that anymore, do we?
Well, I mean, it's tough. I'll be very honest. Marketing, TV and radio used to be the only source of the way to. There was no social media, and everybody had the 12 to 15 channels on their TV that pretty much everybody was watching the same channel most of the time, and radio was simple. There wasn't all these different ways to listen to the radio that there are nowadays. So, working with ad agencies and things, they point out, when you do put ads on TV, there's, everybody has hundreds of channels now, and, you're certainly just shooting off the hip kind of when you do a TV commercial. It's not necessarily maybe the audience that's coming to your racetrack watching those certain TV channels. So you can waste a lot of money. TV's really expensive in a lot of markets, and radio's, fairly expensive, and you could literally not be hitting any target audience at all. So, it's very targeted now. It's very Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all those types of things. Everybody has it, and you're able to target more on people that show interest in racing or dirt tracks or, NASCAR or whatever it may be. Right. You can kind of target towards that audience and then get ads, in front of them. That's kind of the most bang for your buck, but, it's just a changing society. There's a lot of different things going on in the world, and a lot of different entertainment, and sprint car racing is seems like it's doing really well, but it's still a niche sport, and still you got to still have a good weather and a good audience, place that people follow sprint car racing, and it's just not that easy.
Yeah,
you may get 2-3 big events in the whole season, and then you might spend another however many days at the racetrack and not make $1. So it's a tough business, and I certainly understand why we lose tracks at times.
What can we do, and maybe you can answer this better than anybody that I know, what can we do to get young we've got plenty of young people that want to drive race cars, right? Sprint cars, open wheel cars. We've got plenty of those people. How do we get young people back involved in open wheel racing? I just don't know how we pull young people back in. Do you got an idea on that?
It's tough. I think certainly once you get them to the track, they are more interested. So getting them out to the track, I think putting on quality shows more often. I think what happens a lot of times is some of these local tracks, it's kind of easy to get a bad taste in your mouth. You go out there and there's 6 classes and it goes on all night. So, I just think the new generation is, if they're not highly entertained in a short amount of time, you can lose their attention pretty quick. So we really strive at Silver Dollar to have every one of our races done by 9:45. I think sprint car racing as a whole is going to have to look at, condensing their programs a little bit. I think they're going to have to look at, instead of having 2-3 support classes, I think we need to look at alternate types of, ways to entertain the fans in between, the downtime. And maybe it needs to be a little more exciting. And then also figure out how we can create, some sort of connection, to the drivers, to the young people. Obviously sprint car racing, they can get in the pits pretty easily, but whether it's YouTube channels, which, you're starting to see it more and more with the younger drivers, starting to do these YouTube channels, and, maybe it'll take a Netflix type, series like what happened with F1 to really kind of make it a little more mainstream so that young people can kind of see it and grab a hold of it and realize, that it's pretty cool. Sprint car racing is a great form of racing.
Yeah, we're visiting with 3-time World of Outlaw champion Brad Sweet. Was there any anxiety when you guys first started talking about doing the high limit series, you and Kyle? Was there any anxiety there going into that, do you think?
A little bit on my end. I mean, Kyle obviously, he just wants to, try to grow sprint car racing and try to, use his likeness to help, all us sprint car drivers as much as possible. And, from my standpoint, obviously being a World of Outlaw driver, starting an alternate series wasn't really on my radar, so that's why I kind of made sure I'd, trying to get the message out that we're not really trying to compete with the World of Outlaws or hurt the World of Outlaws or anything like that. So, it's 12 midweek races. I think it's very manageable, and I think it can fit into the whole ecosystem of sprint car racing pretty well. And, to get sprint car racers bigger paydays, and especially in the middle of the week when we're usually not doing anything, to go out and race for, $23,000 to win, or some $50,000 to win races, I think pretty dang cool that we're able to kind of do that. And really looking forward to putting on some really cool, fun races next year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's talk about your season so far. You've got a 66-point lead over David Gravel right now. You've had a pretty steady season. You won at Valdo, you won at Williams Grove, Sharon Speedway, Peevely, River City, I believe it was as well. Talk about your season so far this year. Are you satisfied? I know you're leading the points, so you got to be a little bit satisfied right there, right?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it hasn't been a great season. It just, things just haven't been as good as what we're used to. The wind column's down and, things like that. So kind of the last straws, obviously to win the championship would make that feel a little bit better of a season. And, so that's the goal now is 6 races left, try to put our heads down and finish as strong as possible. And obviously try to get some more wins. We didn't win any of the big races. We didn't, have a great Knoxville Nationals. We got a flat tire at the Kings Royal. Just kind of unfortunate, just haven't been able to put anything great together this season. But, it's tough out there right now. There's a lot of competition, and, we've had a lot of great years. And, sometimes you have to go through a little bit of struggles to get a little stronger. So, our heads are down right now, and we're focused on these last 6 races. We're focused on, kind of one race at a time. And obviously, really enjoy going to Lakeside and I-80. So kind of looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah, no doubt. I want to take you back a little bit to that win at Williams Grove. You raced there 53 times before you got your first win. That had to be pretty special to you, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I got to a point part of my career I didn't like going there because I just struggled so bad. And, now we've kind of found some stuff, and I figured some stuff out with my driving, and we got the car better. And, when you win, it gives you a whole new, added confidence at a racetrack. So I felt really good about that. And, it's just one of those things in your career as you, start to progress. You just think, man, I don't ever want to get conquered by a track. You always want to at least conquer it once. And so I felt really good to just be able to check that off the list. Everybody always said, well, you're just not good there, I guess, and so now I want to race there. And it was the Summer Nationals and against all the best guys. So, it just feels like a little bit of a relief, to be honest, more than anything. And, still got one more big one this year. So kind of looking forward to going back there.
Yeah. Again, we're visiting with 3-time World of Outlaw champion Brad Sweet. He's joining us here on Mostly Motorsports. It's all brought to you. It seems to me that right now we are in a transition of people wanting to migrate towards 410 racing. Do you sense the feeling that 410 racing is making I hate to say it, but a little bit of a comeback compared to previous years? I think it's getting a resurgence right now. Do you agree with that a little bit?
Yeah, I think there's a few different reasons why. I think all the big races, obviously are 410 races, and highest paying, and so 360s was always meant to be a transitional, more of a beginner series. Well, then it kind of turned, the ASTS national thing became very competitive, and there was very great teams and great drivers, and but it was a lot cheaper still to race a 360. And 410 racing, I think, has figured out over the last number of years to get the engine costs, so you can get 15 to 20 races out of an engine now, and parts aren't that hard to get. And when you blow a 360 up, the block's basically junk. A 410, you can, kind of work on, you can kind of fix things easier on it. Right. So I think cost is one reason why. I think 410 and 360 racing just pretty much leveled off. I don't think one's way cheaper, and I think 360s race for smaller purses in front of smaller crowds. And I think drivers are just looking at that thinking that they'd rather race for a little bit bigger money, and, they're not going to spend a whole lot more to own a 410. So I think there's some of those reasons, and obviously I think the ASTS National Tour, I don't know a whole lot about it, so I don't want to say it's, not in great shape, but you don't hear about it as much as you once did. So, I think it's just people are migrating towards 410s, like you said.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I want to ask your thoughts about Lakeside Speedway. It's a racetrack that I raced at for many years. It was a pavement track back when I raced out there, but now it's dirt. It was dirt starting in 2000. Talk about Lakeside Speedway a little bit and the dynamic of that racetrack and your thoughts about that place.
Yeah, I honestly love Lakeside. I won a non-wing race there, the Ron Schumann Classic, way back in 2006 maybe, and then I've been fortunate enough to win a World of Outlaw race there in 2015 or so. So, I mean, it's maybe, 2015 or 16. I've always enjoyed going to Lakeside. I love the area. I got some friends in Kansas City, so always enjoy being around that area. Enjoy the racetrack, obviously. I've been there when it's a little bit flooded, but the weather looks good. The shape's good. The size of it, it's a half mile, but it doesn't race like a big half mile. It races, a little more like a smaller half mile. And just enjoy it when it gets wide and slick. Turn 2 gets slick and tricky. And, a lot of times you can be right up by the wall or you can be right down on the tires, but it gets slick. That place gets pretty pretty slippery on the straightaways. So,
yeah.
But yeah, always enjoyed Lakeside, and looking forward to getting back there.
It is a big night out at Lakeside Speedway tonight, and let me give you some advice: get there early.
No
Otherwise,
doubt.
if you try to get there too late, you may miss some of the show. That's just some good advice, right, Scott?
Well, yeah, Kirk, and the farther you can park away from the parking lot, the better off you are. I don't know if they allow you to park out onto the main highway or not.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Park as close to the train tracks as you can, right?
I agree. And if you're local and you have a few friends that are, heck, tailgating and carpooling is your best bet. Keep the car count down out there, but get as many people in that car as you can. That way, our footprint in that parking lot's a little smaller, but yet we're going to have a huge crowd out there. So I agree with everything you said, but let's just try to make sure everybody, because it's a tough one getting out of there and getting in there.
And the one thing, in case you haven't been out at Lakeside Speedway for a while, or maybe not, it's been a year since you were out there, they've done a great job of smoothing out the parking lot at Lakeside Speedway. The parking lot is as good as it's ever been. That's
Absolutely.
one of the big improvements that they've made in the last year. So there's plenty more places to park. It's been dry, so there's no wet spots out there, but just get there early so you don't have to fight the traffic jam getting in.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The line to this race will probably be up to 4:35. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unless they get out there early like we're telling everybody. So
Right.
that's what we're wanting. It's going to be a great day out there today too. So like you said, you ain't got to worry about weather or anything issues, man. Get out there and have fun today.
Yeah, it's different. Last year was on a Friday night, so everybody was rushing
Exactly.
from work to get in. It's on a Saturday, which makes it a lot better.
A lot easier. You know what I'm thinking about doing today? I'm thinking about leaving Mesquite, Texas, soon as this show's over, and driving to Kansas City so I can watch that World of Outlaw race.
That's cool. You're going to have the best of both worlds. You'll see part of Devil's Bowl and see some World of Outlaws action, too. How about that?
But I'd really hate to miss out on Blake winning down here at the Winter Nationals. That would be fun to watch. But tomorrow is Deidre and I's 6th year anniversary. Did you guys know that?
Well, happy anniversary, both of you.
Deidre and I have been together for 6 years.
Cool. We love Deidre.
I know you guys do. She's a good girl.
She's part of the team here.
She has done a lot for us over the years. A lot of work behind the scenes that nobody sees.
Plus, you want to make sure you're back in time for that 3:30 start, the Chiefs and the Bills, right?
Well, and then there's that. Yeah, I don't want to miss any of the Chiefs game. So I'm really thinking about peeling out here as soon as I get done with the show, getting on the road, making it back home, and maybe taking my girl out to dinner. And then, I don't know, we'll just have to see how it goes.
Hey, Scott, I got a text from Mike Franks, our good friend up there at US 36 Raceway. He's got a drag strip and a dirt track up there. He's got a big drag race tonight, he says. No prep drag race at 36 Raceway tonight. Should be a large amount of cars. You have KCIR shootout, small tire, 10.5 class, $5,000 to win. Get there early. Added 3,500 Outlaw Street with Cruise, 3,500 Street Class, 3 Index classes. Anyway, he sent me a text here. We'll get into more details of that the next hour. But anyway,
tell him
no
to
prep
send you a
drag
press
races.
release. Tell him to send you a press release.
Send us a press. We'll put it up on racingboys.com. But if you like drag racing, go to US 36 Raceway tonight. Oh, by the way, Sweet Springs Show Me Showdown's going on. Night 2 was last night. That's an hour east of Kansas City. So there's still some good racing aside from what's going on at Lakeside tonight. A lot of good action.
Hey, Kirk, I want to remind everybody about what the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is doing right now. They will be giving away next year on August 19th, 2023. They're going to be giving away a brand new 2023 Z06 Corvette This is not your standard Corvette, folks. This is a Z07 performance package. It's pearl white, Metallica, clear coat. It's a beautiful car, and they're going to give you $25,000 on cash to help you pay for the taxes of it. This car makes 760 horsepower. It's a 5.5 LT6 V8. It goes from 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. It's an 8-speed transmission and a lofty 8,600 RPM, creating over 670 horsepower. This is a really nice car. And again, all the proceeds that go from the raffle of this car go directly to the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. So you need to get up there and try to buy a ticket. These cars are worth somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000, folks. So this is a really good deal. Get up there, buy a raffle ticket. Again, it's a 2023 70th anniversary Corvette with the Z07 performance package. It is a great deal. Kirk, we bought some tickets last year, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah, it's
we
great
bought about
cause.
200 of them, didn't we?
Yep, we did.
Yeah, we sure did.
And it goes to a great cause. A lot of, keeps a lot of contributions to keep that Hall of Fame and the Brian Clausen Sweet Tower, all that stuff going up there. So if you're a sprint car enthusiast, love racing, love Knoxville, get in on these the sprint car raffle and the Corvette that they're going to give away again next year. All of these things go to a great cause of keeping that Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum going strong.
This is the 5th Corvette they're going to be giving away up there. So get up there to the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. If you can't do it in person up at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, you can always do it at winaz06corvette.com. winaz06corvette.com. Again, that's winaz06corvette.com. Sign up for it, and you might own one of these beautiful Corvettes. Kirk, last night there was some more racing action going on around the country, wasn't there?
Yeah, we saw a 410 sprint car race at Port Royal Speedway last night. Justin Whittle wins his first ever at Port Royal. Anthony Macri was not there because he's going to be running a Silver Crown car at Springfield Mile today. But big win for Justin Whittle last night. They got the big block modifieds there. Last night we also had midget racing down at I-44 Riverside Speedway in Oklahoma City last night.
Cannon McIntosh.
Yep, first win in the Extreme Outlaw Midget Series, but his 12th win in the Power I Series this year. So Cannon McIntosh, big winner last night.
Yep, no doubt about it, man. A lot of great stuff going on. A lot of great stuff going on around the regional tracks as well. Is CMS still open, Kirk?
No, they shut down about a month ago, I think.
Oh, they did.
So,
yeah,
they get down around Labor Day. But
Right.
Sweet Springs again tonight. Big action, the Show Me Showdown going on. The final of the 3 nights tonight out there.
Yeah. I guess Trevor Gundaker won down there at Pontoon Beach, Illinois, down there at Tri-City.
In a borrowed car. He's driving Reed Millard's car because they had engine troubles in his own race car the night before. So Reed Millard loaned him his car, and he went out and won with it last night. How about that?
He's doing a little bit better than Reed does in it.
I would say, well, Reed would be the first to admit that, hey, we got, matter of fact, they interviewed him last night. Hey, we got a driver behind the wheel here.
Right.
I knew this was a good race car, but you put a good driver behind it, it can do well.
And Garrett Smith won the pole for the Dirt Track World Finals. What is that, Kirk?
The Dirt Track World Championship, $100,000 to win the feature event tonight. They had heat races last night, and Garrett Smith, out of all those heat races, earned enough to start on the pole for tonight's 100-lap feature event at the Portsmouth Raceway out in Ohio.
And that's going to pay $100,000 to win.
$100,000. Tim McCready has already wrapped up the Lucas Oil Championship, And so that'll be a big one to tune in. Big money on the line tonight out in Ohio.
I believe there's 68 cars that have entered out there, too, as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Lanny Ross Edwards, we've got him coming up here in just a few minutes, right?
Yep, we'll do that. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll play this interview that I did yesterday with Lanny Ross about the future of Devil's Bowl Speedway. That's all next right here on Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. We'll be right back here on Sports Radio 810 WHB in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Let's face it, it's kind of crazy right now. There's a lack of new and used cars, and dealers are offering all kinds of gimmicks. When you're shopping for a car, the only thing that matters is the difference. The difference between what you get for your trade and what you pay for your new vehicle. It's the bottom line. That's how you save. At Bob Allen Ford, we're experts in the difference. We're the dealership you've trusted for almost 40 years. As my father always says, all Fords are created equal. It's your dealer that makes the difference. Learn more at boballenford.com.
If you or your child suffer a sprain, strain, or fracture, the University of Kansas Health System offers orthopedic walk-in care at I-435 in Knoll in Overland Park. Whether you're injured in everyday life or playing sports, see an orthopedic expert without an appointment. Learn more about the University of Kansas Health System's Orthopedic Same-Day Clinic. Open weekdays from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. for ages 5 and older at kansashealthsystem.com/orthopedics. That's kansashealthsystem.com/orthopedics.
Now you can take on more jobs and grow your business or farm by renting tough Bobcat equipment and attachments. Whether you need to supplement your current fleet to finish a big project, or you're looking for a specific machine or attachment to do precision work, KC Bobcat has you covered. To rent or own, call or visit KC Bobcat in Blue Springs, Olathe, or Tracy. See our selection at kcbobcat.com.
You know what happens when you mess with a 125-year-old legend? You get Topo Chico Hard Seltzer. Inspired by the legendary taste of Topo Chico mineral water and crafted with unique flavors like strawberry guava, tangy lemon lime, tropical mango, and exotic pineapple for a crisp, refreshing finish. Topo Chico Hard Seltzer is a game changer. New Topo Chico Hard Seltzer. Legends never stop refreshing. TC Hard Seltzer Company, Tempe, Arizona, Auburndale, Florida. Celebrate responsibly.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you have to drive 300 miles to your cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's his fourth. But you know what they say, fourth time's the charm. Well, here's the problem. Your tires are as bald as I am. But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model. Plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm definitely a crier. Get the right parts.
Do you have any idea about how many minutes we'll have in this last segment?
Let's ride.
Stand up and cheer.
He's going to keep. He's going to walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Jayhawks.
Hail to old KU.
And Kansas will win.
Wear your crimson and blue and join us each week for Kansas Jayhawk football. Join us this Saturday as the Jayhawks head to Norman to battle the Oklahoma Sooners. Pre-game begins at 9:30 on your home for Kansas Jayhawk football.
You're listening to the home of the Jayhawks. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kirk and I are proud to say that we've been here for nearly 25 years, and Kirk 22 years. So it's been a great station to work at, man. A lot of great people over there. They're doing their job. Just a great radio station. Couldn't ask for a better radio station to work for. The most powerful all sports radio station in the country, Sports Radio 810 WHB. All right, Kirk, you want to set this next interview up for me?
Lanny Ross Edwards at Devil's Bowl Speedway. A lot of reports coming out, a lot of rumors about, and he laid it out just where they're at Devil's Bowl Speedway. Scott Traylor spoke with Lanny Ross Edwards on yesterday on Mostly Motorsports, and here's a portion of that conversation.
Let me ask you, as far as there's a lot of rumors running around, about Devil's Bowl being sold, but it hasn't been sold yet, right?
I don't have no money. You know me, if we had money, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
They're talking about it. Me and Mama's worked on this deal for 3.5, 4 years now. And we aren't one to sell, but when they offer just goofy, crazy money like they're offering, you can't. That'd be where two idiots meet, one for offering that much and one for not taking it. And I don't want to be one of those guys.
So, LR, let's just talk about this weekend, the Winter Nationals. You're thinking that we might have nearly 100 cars tonight, huh?
100 sprint cars. We'll have well over 100 race cars. I'm running 5 different classes, and we used to do this.
All right, boys, let's be up by 55.
And
okay,
with what's going on and everything, I just want to make sure everybody got a chance to run the Winter Nationals, the whole Winter Nationals, like it used to be.
It seems like there's a lot of industrial parks rolling in around this place, and I'm pretty confident that's probably what they want to do right here. Probably put another industrial park in. There's a ton of them over there, a ton of brand new buildings. And that's probably who wants to build over here, don't they? They want to take this land and probably put an industrial park, or do you know?
I don't know. It's these loan companies, they loan these people. There's 220 acres that backs up to mine that the city is going to make industrial. It's on the industrial, I think, next week. And they bought it 8 years ago. So it's land holding companies that just buy the land and set on it, and just when the time's right, they'll resell it. Now, the guy that I'm messing with, their company actually builds those buildings. They build them, rent them out, get them going, and sell them.
Do you think that because of how difficult it is to promote weekly racing, is that part of the reason for considering to get out of this business?
Well, I'm not getting out. I got another racetrack.
That's true, right?
Yeah, I'm not getting out. But, when everybody was in an open trailer, let's say everybody back in the day, I had 109 cars one time in the infield here. But they were all open trailers. Well, that's half of your 3/4 of your advertising going down the highway, And now, it's so expensive to advertise on TV here or radio. If you don't play with the ball, they ain't going to put you on. So we do stuff like you're doing right here on Facebook, because that's the only place we can afford to advertise.
Let me ask you a personal question here. Back in the day, back in the 70s and the 80s, local racetracks in the 60s, tracks thrived on weekly racing, right? But right now, we're seeing a trend to where weekly racing is kind of taking a hit. And what do you think that is all about, really?
Well, I think promoters and racers are both to blame. Nowadays you don't build your car; you go buy your car, and that's expensive. And then promoters, in order to get their fans in there, they think they got to pay $20,000 to win, $5,000 for second, and so on. And I don't think that way. I think you ought to put a little bit at the top 3, and give them a trophy. But the other guys that come, the guy that ran last, he's got to make money too. It cost him just as much to get here as it did the other guy. And so I think we're both at fault. But now I'm in an area where there's 200 restaurants within 4 miles of me. Right. And numerous venues. I don't know how many venues we have in the Metroplex now. So, and then the people, it takes an hour and a half, 2 hours to get home after work. People are too busy on a Friday or Saturday night. Friday, they don't get home till 8 o'clock at night from work.
Traffic's terrible down here.
Oh, it's crazy. It's like I've never seen it before in my life. Plus, people are just way too busy now. And then you're strapped, and this is one of the cheapest forms of entertainment anywhere. And I don't know. I just think they're too busy. Then you got the streaming services, and I'm one of those. I had to go along with it because, I mean, it just helps my income, you know.
Yeah. You know, I don't know about you, but we're thankful that you got the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour down
2
there.
minutes.
You've been very loyal to Emmett and their family for many, many years. The Winter Nationals this weekend. Talk about your relationship with the Hahn family and what it's meant to you guys over the years.
Oh, well, we've been partners for a long time out there in Tulsa, and then on the ASCS deal.
45 seconds.
You know, back when Emmett started 360 deal, is a good deal because the 360s were like $20,000 and the 410s were $50,000. Now they're hitting $10,000 apart from the 410s, and you run them for twice the money with the 410. So, like I say, when you went to limited them, you know, it costs you just as much money to build either one. We've been loyal. We created, Emmett created, and Daddy created that 360 class, and I mean it's very popular all around the country, but it's a money machine.
That's Lanny Ross Edwards, the promoter at Devil's Bowl Speedway, talking about the future, what lies ahead at Devil's Bowl. Scott, interesting comments.
Yeah, there was a lot of interesting statements from Lanny Ross Edwards, and never say never, but Devil's Bowl might be open in 2023. I think there, wasn't it, Kurt?
Yeah, I think everybody's more excited after hearing that we haven't seen the last of Devil's Bowl Speedway.
Yep, no doubt about it. All right, hour number 2 coming up. You can watch it on Facebook. You can watch it on Twitter. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on racingboys.com. Kirk Elliott, myself, along with Todd Surprise. We hope that you'll join us. Hour
15.
number 2. It's right around the corner. It's all in. We want to thank Blake back at Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll see you right around the corner. Hour number 2 of Track Talk.
Now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Join today to get started with $150
Thanks,
in
brother. I
free
appreciate
bets,
it, my man.
guaranteed when you
Y'all
place your
have a
first
fantastic
$5
weekend,
bet.
Yeah, you
That's
too, man.
free
Appreciate
bets
it.
back if your first bet doesn't
Thanks.
win. Just sign up with promo
Have
code
a good
Petro.
one.
All right,
That's
you too,
right,
Greg.
my
Thanks,
last name, Petro. Petro.
I haven't moved anything. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I got 16 up.
We protect your vehicle and make it run longer so you can focus on the things that matter most. Whether it's commuting to work, visiting a loved one, taking the kids where they need to go, going to the big game, or anywhere life takes you, Lucas Oil is committed to getting you there for all of life's important moments. Lucas Oil, it works.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Here at Specialty Sportswear in-house, we do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas Fuel Treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works. There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and if you're not listening to the Racing Boys, then you've got some sort of head problems. You gotta listen to the Racing Boys. Get her done!
Welcome to Hour 2 of Track Talk on the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Here again are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. I'm Scott Traylor, Kirk Elliott, Todd Surprise, back in the Racing Boys studio. How you guys doing today? Everything all right?
Yeah, we're just swimming along here, getting the big day of racing out of Lakeside Speedway tonight. Looking forward to that, and yeah, it's a great day to be alive.
Yeah. A great day to be alive.
Don't you agree, Todd? Great day to always
At
a great
Lucas
day
Oil,
to be alive.
Oh, hold on.
We take pride in creating problem-solving products.
I was juggling back here, and I juggled one too many. Yes, it is a great day.
Fat-fingered something there,
I
Todd.
did. We both fat-fingered everything this morning. So, but everything's good to go.
We've done it all this morning, haven't we?
It's been a rough one, I tell you. So, but we are looking forward to this weekend. We got racing in Kansas City tonight.
Football tomorrow.
Football tomorrow. And only thing I wish it was a noon game. The 3 o'clock games always, I don't know, they hurt me a little bit because I like to get that game going and get it out of the way. I like that noon game, but it's a 3 o'clock game.
That means it's a big game when it's at 3 o'clock.
That's right. It's the only AFC main. It's your main game for everybody in the afternoon. So all eyes will be watching. I'm sure Scott will be hauling butt to get back to KC so that he can watch this game too. I tell you what, my wife is in Philadelphia for a nurse conference, and man, between the baseball last night and the football game coming up this week out there, she said that town is crazy too right now.
The Phillies are wild right now.
Phillies are winning in the playoffs, and you've got the Eagles are the only unbeaten team in the NFL. So they're. She said it's been pretty crazy out there this week. So to say the least,
game of the week this week is going to be the Bills and the Chiefs.
Absolutely,
I'm with you on that. Yeah. So your Chiefs going to pull that out?
I do believe they will. I believe in my Chiefs, Kirk. I don't know about you, but I believe in them.
Well, the way they won that divisional game last January, I guess anything's possible, right?
Well, they won it with 13 seconds to go, right?
The Bills are fretting over that game more than the Chiefs are right now. They didn't like the way that thing ended, did they?
No, they didn't. And they changed some rules because of it too, didn't they?
Yeah.
They probably like to play the Chiefs on their home field for once. When's the last time they played them on their field?
Oh, I can't remember when we went. I'm sure we lost when we were in Buffalo. This game here, like I said, there's a few games where you look at them and think, man, that's an either way game for me. And this is one of the ones I had early on the schedule was an either way. I always assumed that Kansas City and San Diego would be the two top teams in our division, obviously. But this game, when you saw it on the schedule with Bills again, knowing what we did to them last year, or the year before,
they're going to have some revenge in their eyes.
Oh yeah, you can't tell me that quarterback is. I watched the replay of that playoff game yesterday. They replayed it yesterday on the NFL Network, and man, let me tell you, he just had that look of they were complete celebratory.
They thought
moves.
They had it won.
It was done. It was in the book. 13 seconds in the NFL.
They were all celebrating and everything.
Yeah, no, it's like you said. When things like that happen, it's just you just mark it up as that's how
never
football is.
Count out Patrick Mahomes.
No, he got down 17-0 to the Raiders the other night. I'm sitting there thinking this game's far from over.
Right.
And that game there is definitely the game that they probably were going to overlook. Going into this Buffalo game, it's an easy overlook game. The Raiders we'd beaten them we were 6-1 going into that against them. It's an easy one of those games where you don't prepare as much for it because you're thinking about this big game, and luckily we pulled our heads out of our butt that second half and stuck it to them, man. So,
right.
But yeah, today in Kansas City will be great, man. I can't wait. I'm gonna have some racing. Every time when Lakeside gets filled up with the World of Outlaws, I don't know. There's a buzz even in Little Piper. You can feel it because the overflow happens up at the Legends, and once you start seeing those cars backing up on 435, it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. Well, it's a big night for Lakeside Speedway. I hope they make a lot of money.
Yeah, it's. I'm still wondering about that grandstand that they've had closed off for most of the season. Do they make any repairs to that? I don't know.
I doubt they open that up.
It was, I guess, deemed unsafe is why they closed it off. I don't know.
I don't know.
Is it the wooden part down there?
But I tell you what, that crowd at I-80 Speedway last night, Scott. They had standing room only at I-80 Speedway last night. That place was packed.
Yeah, it looked like it was. I watched it. I watched it in Blake Hahn's trailer. I watched that race last night. It's pretty good.
Kind of makes you wonder, what I would imagine Lakeside Speedway, I don't think it's going to be as fast as last night. They did get some rain up at I-80 Speedway earlier this week, which we haven't had any at Lakeside Speedway. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be a slicked-off racetrack tonight. What are you thinking, Scott?
Well, we got a little rain.
We got a little rain, yeah.
There was a little rain?
Yeah, and we got out by my house, we got a little bit, even when I was leaving, I don't know, we got a couple more sprinkles. It wasn't a lot, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a lot, but they did get more rain than what anybody else did. So, I mean, I know we did get some.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, but it didn't last all day, that's for sure.
Yeah. We had some interviews from earlier this week on mostly motorsports that we want to play portions of right now, one of which is Matt Covington, who finished in a third-place position last night down at Devil's Bowl Speedway, and talking about this weekend at the Winter Nationals and his season on the Lucas Oil ASCS Tour. And here's a portion of that conversation that Scott had with Matt Covington here just a couple of days ago.
So, how would you assess your season this year?
Oh, I'd probably tell you like a C if I was going to give you a grade like that.
You're too hard on yourself, buddy. I'm just telling you.
Well, yeah, maybe. And I know what I've driven it for a while, and I know what my car feels like, and I'm basically just saying that just as far as, we just haven't been that hot with the car. And not that we've been that far off. We just haven't been, able to win as many races. And we're not talking about much. It's, you're splitting hairs, we're talking about tenths of a second, that make all the difference. And, we need to do a little bit better, and we know that, and that gives us something to shoot for and, something to work for.
Matt, you've got 2 wins this year. You've had a pretty decent season. You're 173 points out of the lead. That's going to be kind of tough to try to catch up with Blake Hahn or Wayne Johnson at this point. But, every year you get on a hot streak. It's either at the start of the season or at the end of the season. Do you feel that your season this year, you've put it all together and you've had a consistent season for this year?
Well, we started the season off with a lot of part failures at Devil's Bowl. Actually, that we're actually out of our control on that. And then I think as a driver, I tried a little too hard to play catch up. Made some mistakes that cost us even more. I think my first 3 national tour races were 2 DNFs and a didn't make the A feature. So not our typical hot start to the season like we're used to. And and I thought we were going to get on a hot streak there in the middle of the season. We won a couple races, and then we just maybe like we took a step back. And then, like I told you, I struggled early at the Hockett. We figured it out late. I struggled early at I-30, and we figured it out late. I feel like this year I haven't really hit a real hot streak. And I did put off my hand surgery this year. My carpal tunnel does bother me a little bit, as far as being able to drive the race car and not just be a race car driver out there. To win these races, you have to be able to really push the car, really hustle the car. And it hurts, and and that's just what it is. And a guy really needs to be 100%. I'd like to blame some of it on that, and some of it probably is, but some of it is just a confidence level with the car the last couple months or really the whole season. We got off to a bad start. We have a new engine package. Then we start trying to overthink things, and I think a lot of that's plagued us, and we just haven't really hit on something to go on a big run and be and have a big streak. Now, and not that I'm not planning on doing it this weekend at Devil's Bowl. It's a good track for us, and I am in a tight points battle with Tim Crawley, and that spot's worth another $5,000 to me, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for the ASCS sprint car team, that's a lot. I'd like to secure that position, and Tim's been hot. I mean, Tim's car and Tim's, they've been doing real good as of late, been coming on real strong. So we need to, and Devil's Bowl is a good track for me to, to have a stellar weekend. And that's what we're aiming to do. That's what we're shooting for. And we're going to try our hardest to secure the third place in the point standings. And I would definitely like to add another win or two. I mean, last year we won 5 national tour races, so we're not happy with the amount of races we've won. And, sure, our format's different, this or that, but I don't think that has anything to do with it. We just haven't performed as well as we need to, and we haven't performed as well as we're capable of yet. I think this year, I was talking to one of my sponsors the other day, and he's like, "Well, we just need this year to be over." Sure, and that might be a good thing, for next season or whatever. But I think what's important to me right now is finishing the year strong. So I can go into the off season feeling good about it instead of like, oh man, we really got to get our program a couple of tenths faster. We're just going to keep getting our butts kicked.
There he is, Matt Covington, who finished third last night. He's got his weekend off to a great start, Scott. But the guy that he's chasing in the points right now, Blake Hahn, won the race, finished 2 spots better.
Yeah, he sure did. It was that was a pretty good interview. That full interview is already up on the podcast. I think that was episode 195 or 4. I can't
196.
remember. 90s. Lanny Ross Edwards was 196.
Oh, 190. Yeah.
So
there you go.
There's Scott. We got Scott back now. There we go.
Hey, sorry about that. I was packing up some of my gear.
We understand.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying Matt Covington had a great start to his weekend last night, but the problem is the guy he's chasing down for the points had a better night, Blake Hahn.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I really think it comes down to Blake Hahn not making any mistakes this year. He's going to have to just get through the rest of the season. And one good thing about Blake Hahn, I don't know if I told you this, but he's going to go down and run the World Finals down in Charlotte.
Oh, that's great news. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Going to put the 410 back in. I thought he did it. This year he did a really good job with that 410 in there at some of these events.
Well, believe me, Blake Hahn's going to be a good 410 driver.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not worried about that. I think he's going to do just fine. So
I'm not sure we're going to have Lee Spencer with us this morning. Scott, as you know, there's been big news out this week. Kurt Busch is going to hold a press conference. It starts at 10 o'clock our time this morning. I think
he'll probably retire today.
Yeah. I mean, that's the speculation. And there was a report out that Richard Childress has bought out the final year, or the final year of Tyler Reddick's contract at Richard Childress Racing has been bought out. That it's been reported, which frees up Reddick going on over to 2311 Racing next year. So the word is that Tyler Reddick's going to be in that 45 car next year, and Kurt Busch, and I don't think it's any coincidence it's at Las Vegas, his hometown, that he's making a big announcement here coming up here in less than an hour.
Well, I think we all know what's going to happen. Why would you take any chance to have more brain damage than the brain damage you already have, right?
Yeah.
Just saying. He's already got some brain damage, obviously. Why would you go back out there with not trusting these new cars and race them and take a chance and being brain dead? It just doesn't make any sense.
Which now leads me to speculate, does he go into the broadcast booth at Fox Sports next year?
I think he'd do a good job in the booth.
I mean, he's been training for that for a while now. He's been doing a lot of these Xfinity races for Fox and, been doing that he's thinking, hey, I can make a lot of money, working with Clint Boyer and Mike Joy in the Fox broadcast booth. That's my thought, that's his next step.
No, I think that's where he's going to, Kirk. No doubt. Who else we got to play?
We have
Trenton Berry.
Trenton Berry, who is at RacingDirt.com. You spoke with him. He's always a good guest on your show, Scott.
Yeah.
RacingDirt.com. They've done all the USMTS races, and last weekend, the USRA Nationals down at Lucas Oil Speedway. That was a big event. And Trenton had a lot of things to say when you had him on the show earlier this week. And here's a portion of that conversation with Trenton Berry.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Let's talk a little bit about the 19th Annual Summit USRA Nationals down at Lucas Oil Speedway. A good show up of cars. They had a lot of cars down there, didn't they, Bud?
Yeah, almost 300 for the week right there. So it was pretty stellar turnout, and just it's a wild event, man. Anytime you can set somewhere for a week, it's pretty crazy. Personally, I enjoyed it because my house is 10 minutes from the track, so
right.
that worked out well for me. But yeah, just a lot of racing, a lot of cars, a lot of laps, a lot of things right there.
Yeah. So let's talk about the USRA Modifieds. Tyler Wolff, he picked up the win, right?
Yeah, he did, and he was the dominant car all week long, and he won a qualifier, and just had all kinds of success. And that's kind of what you'd expect. He's a full-time USMTS car, but he runs a little different schedule than a lot of those full-time cars because he picks and chooses around. If the USMTS is off, a lot of times he's picking between Tri-State, Salina, Oklahoma, and Wheatland to go run. He races a lot, and so he'd been to Wheatland multiple times prior this season, even aside from the USMTS race in August. So I don't think anybody was probably shocked. He's rolled along really well this year, and to be honest with you, man, on the USMTS off weekend, that's what those guys need to go do, is they need to go win. Brandon Givens, another full-time car, showed himself really well this year. The stock car ranks, Dylan Thornton, he won every race he was on the racetrack all week long in the stock cars, running for Rookie of the Year with the USMTS. And it's interesting, the parallels, even though it wasn't a USMTS race, but those guys that showed up and really showed out, and a lot of them are benefiting from a year's worth of really hard racing out on the road.
Yeah, no doubt. And let's talk about the USRA B mods. Ryan Gilmore picks up the win there. Tell me a little bit more about Ryan.
Yeah, so Ryan was a guy, he started out as a track photographer at Springfield Raceway. You remember that?
I don't remember that.
All those years ago.
I don't remember that.
So for several years, and then he ran some go-kart stuff, just kind of like mess around go-kart stuff, and then some go-kart races, and he got competitive there. And then he got in the Midwest mod, and he won right away. And then he got a chance to get in the B mod, and won right away. He's raced a modified a little bit. He's raced a cash money late model a little bit too. He swapped from Jerry Hoffman's stuff to Scotty Allen's cars this year. Ryan's a former USRA national champion. Man, he's just a great racer. He won up in Lakeside. He won the B-Mod race of the Grant Young-Hands Memorial back in August. Huge win. And he's won a lot of races over the years. And I think pound for pound, the most competition at the USRA Nationals is in that B-Mod division. And, Gilmore won right there at the end, but there were several other racers that competed and had success throughout the course of that week, and they turned out pretty good numbers to support the race. So their division really was pretty exciting all week long.
Before we let you go, I want to talk a little bit about the USRA stock cars that raced there. Dylan Thornton picked up the win there. Talk about that a little bit. Track conditions seem to be pretty good because we saw some guys work their way through the field in that stock car division.
Yeah, and the stock cars they've come out in droves, and it's a great weekly division, and that's no BS, man. They're competitive top to bottom. It showed this week, and Thornton was he was a full-time USMTS Rookie of the Year car, and he just ran a stock car this week and didn't run his modified. He said he was kind of set up on his modified. He had enough stuff left for 3 more races here to finish out the USMTS year, and he said, "Man, I don't want to go buy a drum of fuel and let it set 3/4 full, for all winter." He said, "I'll just get it when we get around to it next year." So he ran his stock car all week, and he won every time he was on the racetrack. He won the Summit Shootout race. He won the qualifying night features. He won the main event. He went with the boys in the broadcast booth on Friday because he was off, and he said, "Man, I'd like to go in the booth with those guys for some of those early races." And they brought him in the broadcast booth and had him kind of color commentate a little bit, which was cool too. He's 21 years old. He's out Santa Maria, California, but he lives in Central Iowa right now, and he's racing for Sean Ritter, just a great guy in our sport. So they had a lot of fun, and Dylan was really rolling this weekend.
Yeah. Before we let you go, let's talk a little bit about what's coming up on racingdirt.com. I know that you guys are going to be up in Mason.
That was Trenton Berry. That was a little bit abrupt ending right there. Alston put that together.
I didn't double check that ending, or I would have
You
maybe.
didn't do that, did you, Tom?
I might have fixed that double ending on that, but no, it's all good. I think he meant to clip it right before the end of that, but that's all good.
Yeah, it's we'll throw Alston under the bus since he's not here
to
defend himself right here.
It's good to be able to do that every
He
once
was
in a
up at I-80 Speedway last night helping
That's right.
Riley
Kreisel.
We might actually hear from him. We sent him a message and see if he'll give us a text here.
Well, they didn't make it
show.
out. They finished like 11th in the B main, so he may want to talk. They didn't.
That's probably true.
They didn't have all that great a night last night, but they're going to be at Lakeside Speedway tonight, so we'll see how the 91 car does.
Yeah. Are you going out there tonight, Kurt?
I'm going to be there. I'm going to get there early.
Yeah.
I don't want to be.
doubt.
I want to be locked into a traffic jam driving in there, like last year.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
you'll be in a traffic jam if you leave late.
That's right. So, and I missed all the heat races when I got out there last year. That was the thing I remember the most. So by the time I got in there, and I was watching the heat races on my phone as I was driving in.
I should have started a shuttle service. You know it, Scott? You could
make a lot of money.
You could park. I could rent that parking lot at Piper High School out with my connections to Piper. I could get a little donation money to the baseball team, and I could run a shuttle from Piper right down there to Lakeside to where I could drop you off, and then when that race is over, I get the first text that shuttle will be sitting down there at the end of 435 waiting for you. You just walk right on down there at the end of Walcott Drive.
Yeah, but your shuttle have to wait for the train to get out of there.
No, I'm talking
like
about yeah, exactly. But like you said, and also remember this, guys, that the train is not adjusted on Saturday nights, so there may be a couple. Right. You may get a couple trains on your way out there tonight. Not your normal one. Right. You might get a couple. So just be prepared, guys, and don't fool with the train. Don't mess around with that train.
Don't mess with it.
Just don't. It's not worth trying to get home an extra 10 minutes early. Missing that train.
I'm not trying to scare anybody from going out there tonight. No. Just go early.
Everybody's going to be out there. And like you said, the parking lot's great. And then you've got all the area where you can camp out there too. You're going to have a lot of campers out there too waiting because it's a great day today. So go out there, get set up, and go out and go shopping, and come back early and be ready to roll, man. I mean, it'd be a great day out there.
It's like 90 degrees down here.
Yeah, it's not quite that here today. We're more San Diego weather today. It's chilly this morning.
It was 38 degrees when I walked out of the house.
We were in the 30s this morning, Scott.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was really cold last night up at I-80. They all had stocking caps on up there, heavy coats.
I saw somebody.
I wore a hoodie and shorts last night.
Well, I can tell you how cold it was. My son went to Worlds of Fun, and he's a teenager, and he wore pants last night, if that'll tell you. Because teenagers do not wear pants.
Worlds of Fun was open.
Yeah, and it was packed last night.
Halloween, some kind of a Halloween
Yes, sir.
deal.
Yep, big and packed again today. I heard a lot of people heading out there this morning. So, yep.
Who do we have next?
Steve Post, the postman. And he may, I don't know exactly what, I think he may talk a little bit about Kurt Busch here too, but Steve Post is the pit reporter for Motor Racing Network. He's off this weekend because PRN has it out in Las Vegas, but he also hosts Wing Nation, so he follows the sprint car scene as well as NASCAR, and Scott speaks with Steve Post every Wednesday on Mostly Motorsports, and here's part of this week's conversation.
I want to bring up this suspension of Cole Custer's crew chief. I think his name is Michael Shiplett. Is that right? Is that what his name is?
Yeah, Mike Shiplett. Great guy. Awesome guy.
But he has been fined $100,000 and been indefinitely suspended from NASCAR. How does NASCAR know for a fact that Cole Custer let up to let his teammate get by? How do they know this for sure? Can you answer that for me?
Well, I don't think they do.
Right.
I think that they're looking at a lot of different parts and pieces. And face it, I've watched the video.
Yeah.
It's very suspicious. I agree that it's very suspicious. And I think now, here's where I think it's happening. And I got a couple of things on this. I've been thinking a lot about this today. Okay, I think we're headed down I think we have been headed down a slippery slope because with this penalty, everyone is saying, "What about Chase Elliott here? And what about this one here? And what about that one here? Right. What about Denny Hamlin and letting Martin Truex do this? And what about this? And what about that?" And I think that is all concerning. And I think that NASCAR felt that they cannot prove this for a fact, but there's enough evidence that they need to try to stop this from happening. And I think that's why they took the steps that they had. They had a morsel of evidence, and it's a good morsel of evidence. I mean, the crew chief can't see the car in the backstretch and telling the driver he's got a flat. Usually it's the driver telling the crew chief I got a flat. So I think there's a more than a morsel of evidence, but I think more importantly, I think NASCAR is like, guys, we cannot have this thing get monkeyed up like this. And I think that's why they came down so hard on it. Now, that's where I'm at on that penalty. Right. And I don't like that. I don't like that NASCAR is officiating this way, but I think I don't like that they're being put in the spot where they have to officiate that way. And I wrestle with both sides of that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. How about Christopher Bell racing his way in, man? Could you be any more happy for that guy?
No, not at all.
Right.
I mean, and this was, Scott, this was an excellent performance by Christopher and his team. I mean, this was, they had one goal. They had to win this race. They were not in a spot where they were going to point their way in. They had to win this race, okay? And overlay the fact, and we've talked about this, Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas on road courses have not been good this year. So what they did is they implemented a strategy, and this is Adam Stevens' crew chief, and Adam is one of the sharpest guys that is in the sport. Implemented a strategy to stay in touch. They short pitted the stages because stage points don't matter. They could get all the stage points in the world, and all they're going is home.
Right.
There was one lap they needed to lead, and that was the last one. And Adam Stevens kept that car 6th, 7th, 8th all day long. Yeah, they would ebb and flow, maybe back to 9th or maybe up to 3rd or 4th as cars were pitting. But he kept that car in play. And what he needed at the end of that race was a late race restart. And what he got at the end of that race was a late race restart. And what he also got is he was running 7th, and the 6 cars in front of him did not pit, put him in the pits, put him out of the pits on fresh tires, and I'm fairly confident he gassed those tires up to qualifying settings and whatever else he could do to the car on qualifying settings. And so that's where Adam Stevens, the whole team aspect, he did everything flawlessly in that race. And he put it in the hands of Christopher Bell, and Christopher Bell did everything flawless from that point forward. He raced his way forward. He got the advantage of Kevin Harvick on that final restart, and he raced himself into the next round. It was fun to watch the way that unfolded, and when you look back at the way it unfolded, it was a special. That was a full blown team, everybody, all hands on deck effort. They put the ball in Christopher Bell's hands with fresh tires and a qualifying setup likely on that car, and Christopher Bell did the rest, and that is what a great team does.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think they were the first to pit, weren't they? They were the first one to come in and put fuel and tires on, weren't they? I believe.
Yeah, they were. They came in first and went out first on that caution.
Right.
Is what they did. They were the pit crew. The pit crew won the battle off on pit road.
Right.
You've got to, when you have a plan, and when you have this plan in place, one misstep, pit crew doesn't get the car off from pit road. Christopher misses a turn. They call a different strategy. Anybody can mess this up. Nobody messed this one up, and it worked to perfection. And then that's how in NASCAR Cup Series racing you take a 7th place car And you win a race by out-strategizing, by putting yourself in the best spot, by having a great, great driver, and doing it then on that stage where they qualified into the round of 8. It just was a wonderful moment for Christopher Bell and that whole team.
A not-so-wonderful moment was Kyle Larson coming off the corner and slapping the right rear up against the wall. He did some suspension damage. I think they lost like 5 laps, I believe it was, or something like that when they made the repairs on that race car. But the biggest story of this event has to be that Kyle Larson didn't make it into the final 8. Would you agree?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, because and here's the thing where everyone is twisted up about what Briscoe did, what Custer did, what Custer didn't do, what Briscoe didn't do. Right. Briscoe roughed up Eric Jones, yada yada yada. Okay,
right.
None of that matters if Kyle Larson doesn't run that car into the wall. None of that matters.
Yeah.
And this is where and there is nobody on the planet more pro Kyle Larson than I am. I love watching that cat run any kind of vehicle he wants to climb under the wheel of. I watch him run micros out at Millbridge when he runs out there. I love watching that guy race. But ultimately, he bounced the car off the wall and damaged his race car. By the way, Ross Chastain did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to somebody, and Ross Chastain was suffering through mechanical problems. Well, yes, he was suffering through mechanical problems after he drove the car into the fence. You at this level, and Larson's a champion. And again, I'm pro Kyle Larson. I'm as pro Kyle Larson.
Right.
You can't be bouncing the car off the wall because then you put yourself in a vulnerable spot. And that's what they did. And just the way that the chaos over the last few laps of that race took place, they were vulnerable and they got picked off.
Yeah.
And they got put out of it. And I agree with you 100%. That is the biggest story that came out of the Roval races, that Kyle Larson is not in the round of 8.
There he is, Steve Post, and you can listen to him on Wing Nation every week on Motor Racing Network, also on MAV TV, the Saturday morning show we have right here in our studio every Saturday morning, too. Steve Post got some pretty interesting comments. Scott, I'm just still in a state of shock over Kyle Larson not making that final 8 in the NASCAR. I can't believe that.
Well, me personally, I think Kyle Larson threw himself under the bus a little bit too hard. I don't think it's all his fault. I think he had a couple motor failures along the way. He might have made a mistake here or there, but I don't want to blame it all on him. I think the team has to take some of the responsibility for some of his problems this year as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, especially you go back and you look when that tire got loose and Cliff Daniel was suspended for 4 weeks. That's a big deal when your crew chief gets suspended. I know they have a lot of communication. The crew chief can still, call the shots wherever he's at, but that still sets your team back. But those engine failures and did not finishes that Kyle Larson had this year,
right?
Yeah, you can't blame the driver for all of that.
Can't lose those points.
Yeah. I mean, it is very surprising, though, how much of a cushion that he had in the late going of that race at the Roval, a place he won a year ago, that you don't put yourself in any kind of bad circumstance. You just want to manage the situation, get to the end of the race, and you're in. I don't know what happened there where he got up into the wall, but he said he wasn't even racing that hard, but it happened, and that really is the point
You
that
didn't
he
see
was
it,
dead
did you,
in.
Kurt?
I didn't see it.
No, he come off a turn. It was a really sharp little turn, and he just slapped the wall with the right rear, and he did some damage to the car. It took him 5 laps to get it back together. And, that cost him a chance of being in the final 8.
And these new cars, if you slap the wall, it's not the same as the old car. The toe links and all kinds of damage on these new cars that you didn't get on the old car.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. To be fair, the cars are just not safe.
Yeah, that's a big issue that NASCAR's got going on right now. And everything that they're doing right now to solve this problem, we don't know if it's going to solve the problem.
Yeah,
it seems
no
like
doubt.
they're, they're throwing darts on a wall right now, thinking that will fix the problem if they redo the rear clip and so forth. We don't know if that may cause a problem somewhere else in the car, and I think that's where Denny Hamlin was coming at is, we may end up scrapping this one and coming up a new car before it's all said and done. That may be the worst-case scenario, but you got to wonder.
I don't think that's going to be the case, Kirk. I think they're just going to work on the safety of these cars.
Yeah.
I think NASCAR likes these cars. They just need to make them a little bit safer.
Yeah, well, it's so stiff that a lot of the energy is going towards the driver right now. They've made them safe in a lot of other areas, and the racing out on the racetrack at a lot of these racetracks has been great with this new race car. The short tracks, I still think they need to work on.
Yeah, but you don't want drivers getting hurt.
No, and the drivers are obviously concerned about it.
Mm-hmm.
Even to the point now to where we're going to have a driver retire over this, Kurt Busch, and he's been one of the victims of this. Alex Bowman has been another victim. He's going to set out another 3 races. So who's the next driver to get a concussion? We hope we can get through the next 4 races without that happening.
Concussion or worse.
Or worse, yeah. So I don't know. You just keep your fingers crossed over the next 4 races that we don't have any issues and they can get this problem solved and get into next year with the fix. Whatever they come up with, whatever they decide to do to fix this car, it's not going to affect this season or the cars that they have left to race this year. It's for next year.
It's for next year. Do we got one more sound bite, Kurt?
Nope, we played them all.
We played them all.
All 5.
All 5 of them.
It's because we had 2 of them in the first hour. That's what kind of threw us for us.
Yeah.
Normally we just play the 1 in the first hour, but
we had Brad Sweet and Lanny Ross Edwards in hour 1. Then we started off this hour with Matt Covington, Trenton Berry, and the Postman.
All those interviews are up on podcast. You can go and check into those up. And then if you want to send some of those, or we've got all those little interviews we played the way we played them on YouTube. So if you want to share those with your friends or whatever, that way you can get them to them. But definitely go to our podcast and subscribe to that so you guys will know whenever we get a new episode out.
I think it's positive to hear Lanny Ross talk about how the track hasn't been sold. I think there's a real good chance that racetrack is going to be open next year.
There is a chance now, for sure. No doubt. And I was really impressed. I really want to say to Lanny Ross Edwards, thank you for being transparent about everything. He's been open and honest with everybody of what's going on. And that is always the best policy for any track operator, is just lay it out there, tell us all what you know. And if something does come up, we're not going to be blindsided by it. So he's laid it out there, told us what the situation is. I applaud Lanny Ross Edwards for taking that approach.
Well, I could tell you this.
Laid it out.
It's good to know that maybe that racetrack might be there another year or 2. You know what I mean?
Sure. They're not looking to, they're not wanting to sell it. But again, as he pointed out, somebody comes up with that big number, it's hard to turn it down.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So we just don't know when that'll be.
Well, listen, any racetrack promoter that's going to get offered a lot of money for their property, as much as I hate to say it, they need to take it, right? Take the money and run, because the promoting game as we know it is not the same as it was 20 years ago, right, Kirk?
Yeah. Plus if the amount of money that we've heard and they're talking about, it's hard to turn that down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I was happy to see the post-race interviews last night. I was beginning to wonder, you've had wireless issues at Neville's Pole Speedway before, and I was beginning to wonder whether we'd hear from Scotty Cook last night, but they drug out a wired mic for him to do the post-race interviews last night. I was happy that we got to hear from the top 3 finishers last night.
Well, Kirk, just to be fair, they're not working at it as hard as we did. If you want to know the truth, we ran a cable all the way up to the roof, down to Brian's mixer, and we put our antennas up on the roof where you get extra reach. And now we had problems down there with the wireless, but we didn't have the kind of problems they're having. Right?
Not in Victory Lane, right?
No, we always had Victory Lane covered and down by the scales covered. You couldn't get too far from the scales, but we always had that covered. And what they need to do is they need to set their Sennheiser unit up on the roof, tape it to a pole up there, have some antennas up there, and it will solve all those problems. But I don't think anybody wants to work that hard to do it.
Yeah, with the pit area behind the back straightaway, sometimes you had trouble doing stuff from way back there. But Victory Circle should be a whole different story.
Well, what they need is some antennas. You know, Johnny Gibson does it the best. He's got 2 antennas that he runs from a Sennheiser. They're on suction cups, and he pops them to the window that he's sitting behind, and he pops those up there in the window, and that gives him some extra reach, and that's what they need to do.
Now, does he have to set all that up still, or does Dirt Vision do that now with the wireless stuff? Does he still have to do that himself?
Who?
Johnny Gibson with Dirt Vision. I would think Dirt Vision would set all that stuff
They
up.
probably take care of him a little bit.
I would think so.
But Johnny probably likes to tweak on his own wireless mic stuff, I would think.
And
right?
he picks out Johnny picks out all the music and stuff too, doesn't he? He's big into that.
Mm-hmm.
So looking forward to getting out here tonight.
Johnny Gibson, he's figured it all out. He's been out there, 27, 28 years now?
Been doing it a long time.
Long time. So he's got it kind of figured out. He's not a dummy.
And the way he works with Chase Rodman, I like the way those two work together, and Chase does a great job in the infield.
Yeah. I don't know, Kirk. How many cars do you think we'll get out at Lakeside tonight?
Well, they had 40 cars up at I-80 last night. I'm thinking 35, 40 cars.
That'd be a good number.
I can't imagine that a lot of those guys, I wouldn't say all of them, but I would say most of the guys that showed up at I-80 will come to Lakeside tonight, wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Saturday night show? Why wouldn't you?
I'm debating on staying here and then leaving after the races.
You still haven't decided what you're doing yet.
I haven't decided what I'm doing, but I'm checking out of the motel room as soon as I get done here.
I'm going to bail out of here because I got an 11 o'clock game to watch, Iowa State and Texas. So that's my immediate deal. And then I'm going racing tonight.
That's not going to be a good ending, Kirk.
I'm worried about it. I don't want to lose 4 in a row. That would be 4 in a row they would lose if they lose down there today. So we'll see what happens. Hey, I was going to give you the winners from last night at Sweet Springs. Dylan Cadis won the Outlaw feature event last night at Sweet Springs, beat Cameron Key, who won the non-wing Outlaw the night before. Willie Urish finished in third. Frank Galusha and Aubrey Smith, your top 5. They had 4 classes they ran at Sweet Springs last night. Chase McDougall won the Restrictor A main. It was Brecken Reese who had a great night on Thursday night, winning 1 race and finishing at the top of another on Thursday. He comes back last night, wins the non-wing feature event, and in junior sprints, it was J.T. Daniel picking up the win. All 7 classes will be going at it tonight at Sweet Springs for the final big event wins. The Show Me Showdown in memory of Dean Halfman winds the season up tonight out at Sweet Springs Motorsports Complex. Can't be there tonight. The Cushion will have the live video of that.
The Cushion does a good job too, by the way. We never did. We didn't play that interview I did with Yogi, did we? Lane Goodman.
Oh, yeah. We never got that prepared.
That was a bad wreck that he had. My friend Lane Yogi Goodman
ended up in the water
at Caney Valley Speedway in Caney, Kansas, flipped upside down and landed in a pond. It had to be a very scary deal. He landed, the car landed in the pond on its left side. His head went underwater. Then the tires kind of picked up and rolled the car over and raised it up a little bit. And he was able to get his head out from underneath the water. So that was a scary deal.
Oh,
really.
my God. Yeah, that was that's crazy. You're strapped into a race car, laying on the side in water. That's something you wouldn't think about possibility of happening when you go to the racetrack.
Yeah, I saw that. Somebody posted. I tried to find it when you just started talking about it. I saw somebody post some of that video or the photos, actually, of.
I think it's up on my page, too.
Yeah. And then, so that episode is 194, if you guys are wanting to find that episode. It's the one with Steve Post and Lane Goodman, and that's easy to find. And
Lane's a good guy, the son of Mike Goodman. His dad was a hell of a racer back in the day, but not a good deal when you land in a pond in a sprint car.
And it's they don't have the proper fencing around that racetrack. Was that one of the big problems there?
That fence didn't look right to me. It just, he was able to hop it pretty darn easy. I have not been to nearly as many tracks as you have, Scott and Kirk, but as soon as I saw that, I said, that don't look right. just didn't look right to me, man.
Hey, I got a little inside story last night. It looks like Terry Maddox is talking about bringing a Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour race to Valley Speedway.
Valley Speedway?
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
What's wrong with that?
I like the track. We were just talking about fencing and so forth. I wish they would upgrade their fencing at Valley Speedway around that racetrack. That's my only thought.
You and me both, bud.
I like the track. The track itself is great.
It's a racing track.
The surface of the racetrack, the configuration of the track's the best thing about Valley Speedway. But I've always thought they needed to upgrade the fencing around that track. Just my opinion.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. That would be cool to watch a race there. Now, remember, Kirk, I did promote a National Tour race there a couple of years ago, way back in the day. Remember that?
I remember that. I do. I do recall that.
Yeah. I think we did 2 or 3 National Tour races there, if I'm not mistaken.
That's been
it's been a long time ago.
7, 8, 10 years ago. I can't remember how long ago that was.
Yeah, it was quite a bit ago. So anyway, the rumor has it that there's going to be a National Tour race out there. So
yeah, that'd almost be 10 years ago. I think that was my second year or first year. I remember you guys doing those races out because that was my first visit actually back to Valley in quite some time as a, working there. So I almost think that was almost 10 years ago probably when you did that.
Oh, it had to be at least 10 years ago.
Maybe even 11 when I first started. Yeah.
Yeah. Right in the beginning.
Yep.
Another race I'm looking forward to tonight, and I didn't look at this before last night until I saw them on the racetrack last night out at Port Royal Speedway. These big block modifieds are in action at Port Royal Speedway. They're going for a $50,000 to win race tonight, and some of the heavy hitters of the SSTS series are in action. They had, 70 of those cars out there last night. They just ran heat races, but I thought they really put on a great show at Port Royal Speedway last night. And so, that's kind of a sleeper event. If you're watching on video, I think Flo has the live coverage of that tonight. Big block modifieds at Port Royal Speedway tonight for $50,000. I'm looking forward to watching
that's
that.
Big money.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a little tidbit of information at the racetrack this weekend. Wayne Johnson is going to be driving a Silver Crown car at IRP next week.
On the pavement.
On the pavement.
Wow. Has he raced? Has he at all raced on pavement before?
I'm not sure that he has, but he wants to start doing some of that. I think Todd, his car owner, and him are going to build a Silver Crown car, and they're going to try to run like 18 races next year with the Silver Crown guys.
That'd be cool. Be kind of fun to see Anthony Macri in a Silver Crown car today at the Illinois State Fair, the USAC Silver Crown. Anthony Macri, first time in a Silver Crown car today. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm looking forward to it, though. That'll be good stuff. I can't wait to watch Wayne. I asked him if he needed a spotter. I said, man, I can come down there and spot for you if you need somebody, but he already had a spotter. So, yeah.
It was good to see Johnny. It was good to see Johnny Herrera back in a car last night down there.
Well, I don't think Johnny was all too happy with the way his heat lined up. I don't think they liked it. There was some confusion between an 85 car and an 85X car. And for whatever reason, one of the 85 cars started on the pole of the heat race. And I know Sam Haferteeth wasn't happy about it. I know Johnny Herrera wasn't happy about it. There was a little bit of complaining. To be honest with you, Sam Haferteeth went up there and just reamed Terry Maddox, and he reamed Angie as well, Battles. And he was a little unfair, to be honest with you. But he's only trying to protect his own interest, and that's what he was trying to do. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. Sam had to run the B last night. He ran second in the B, made it into the A. But I don't know where he ended up finishing last night.
I think he ended up in the top 10 last night. He ended up in 8th place, I think. Did he not?
I'm
in
not
the
sure.
feature event? Yeah, finished 8th. Started 19th, finished 8th behind Wayne Johnson, who started 18th. So Johnson starting 18th, Haferteeth starting 19th, both ended up 7th and 8th respectively.
Well, that's pretty good, but that doesn't work well for Wayne. If you think about the points, let me look at the points right now. Let me take a look at it here real quick. We'll go to the points. See what that did to the points last night. ASCS has got a new website, and I don't like it, just so you know.
They did change things around, didn't they?
Yeah.
I'm seeing Blake Hahn with 3,775, Wayne Johnson with 3,643. Do the math there. Matt Covington, 3,587. My dad used to add and subtract in his head. Only person I've ever seen do that in my life.
So right now, Blake Hahn's got a 132-point lead over Wayne Johnson. He's got a 188-point lead over Matt Covington, who's in third in points. He's got a 270-point lead over Jason Martin, who is fourth in points. Tim Crawley has slipped back to fifth. He is now 271 points out of the lead. I think Blake is starting to accumulate enough points that where he's going to feel comfortable trying to win this championship. You know, you got this weekend coming up here. It looks like he's one of the fastest cars here this weekend. You look at the Fuzzy Fall Fling that they're going to have up there. I think that he's got a good shot. You know, Blake really knows how to get around Creek County real well. So I think that there's a good chance they might win that race, this championship again. 2 in a row. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Has the ASCS added 2 more dates on the calendar? I see 2 nights at Cocopah Speedway out in Arizona on the schedule here. I didn't know about that. I was
national
thinking,
schedule?
Yeah, it's got November 11th and 12th at Cocopah Speedway for the Keith Bryan Memorial. The Fall Fling is the next event. I thought they only had 3 nights of racing left. October 15th tonight. That's tonight at Devil's Bowl. And then 2 nights at Creek County, the Fall Fling on October 28th and 29th. But I'm looking at the schedule here, and I see Cocopah Speedway on there. Was not aware of that.
I'm looking. At the end of the year.
Yeah. You see it?
Not yet. I'm scrolling. Oh, I do see that. That's not going to make the teams happy.
I didn't know about those two events or 2 nights.
I did not know. This Keith Bryan that's working down there, I'm hearing a lot of good things about him. He's running that track and another track as well. And we'll just have to see how that goes. That might be a vacation trip for me, Kirk.
Now, wait a second. I need to hold on just a second. Those are Southwest Tour events. That's not National Tour. I had to click that. I was looking at all event schedule. I'm not familiar with this new website either, Scott. But I clicked to just National Tour, and indeed, Creek County is the final 2 National Tour nights of racing, the 28th, 29th. So we only have 3 nights of points racing left in the Lucas Oil ASCS. So looking at that, boy, how can you beat Blake Hahn at this point?
Yeah,
especially coming off that win last night. He's all but wrapped this thing up in my mind.
I might go down to Creek County for the Fuzzy Fall Fling.
Yeah, that would be a fun event to attend down there. That's a great place to close out the regular season too. No, the Cookapah dates are the ASCS Southwest region only,
right?
In November. So no, I had it clicked here, all events. That's why I'm not used to the new website here. It's a little bit different, but it looks good.
Yeah,
so Blake Hahn, to me, has you can pencil him in now for his 2nd straight championship in my mind.
Well, you can't count out. They're still close enough that something could happen. If he has a bad week at Creek County, it could happen. It could still happen. He could still lose it.
And that's close to home, too.
Well, it's a quarter mile from his house.
He's done well at that racetrack in the past, has he not?
He knows that racetrack better than anybody.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to take it away from him right now, I think. Wayne Johnson.
Yeah, got to talk to Emmett last night down here.
I heard he was there last night.
Yeah.
Terrific. There to see his grandson win. Awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it was good. All right. Well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to Track Talk here today on Sports Radio 810 and RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. We had all the great sound. We hope that you enjoyed it. Don't forget, we do the show Mostly Motorsports Monday through Friday, 12 noon Central Time. You can watch it on our Facebook, Twitter page, YouTube, and racingboys.com. We do it every day, 12 noon Central Time. We have a lot of guests on there. We hope that you'll tune in as well. For Kirk Elliott, for Todd Surprise, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us on Track Talk. We'll see you Monday, 12 noon Central Time on Mostly Motorsports. Thanks again, everyone.
Track Talk.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.